Hello and welcome to my inaugural screencast. My name is Adam Underwood. I'm going to be telling you guys about TLC Domain number 5, which is promoting the use of assessments and data for school and district improvement. A little bit about me. I've been a teacher for 11 years now, about 5 years at Las Vegas Clark County School District, and 6 years at Environmental Charter Middle School Gardena. At Environmental Charter Middle School Gardena, I teach 8th grade, and I'm also the science department head. Okay, so what are some of the key points of domain number 5? The teacher leader is a leader in current research. This means that a teacher is updated on current learning techniques, curriculum, and challenges facing the school. This includes going to conferences and staying current with testing techniques. This is kind of a big point for me in science because they're going to start to test for science in California on the CAST test, and I need to make sure that all of the science teachers are prepared for this test. Another key point about domain number 5, it's not all about you. Teacher leaders work with other colleagues to improve their capacity to create, implement, and analyze data. I recently got done teaching a PD to science teachers about how to use formative and summative assessments to try to find misconceptions, address them, and also build foundational science and math content. A lot of students struggle and they're a little bit behind in math and science, so trying to identify where they need help is really important. Okay, a teacher leader uses data to make decisions. Teacher leaders use relevant data to make decisions. Well, this to me means that the teacher leaders collect and analyze data and sources of data to inform their decisions. And they're reflective in this practice. It's really important that they're not just making decisions on a whim, rather basing their decisions within data. Some of the key skills needed, they need to be able to compile and analyze relevant data. They need to be able to create and use assessments, work collaboratively with colleagues, and reflect on their work and create a climate of trust. This is really essential at our school in Environmental Charter School Gardena because we work in interdisciplinary teaching, which means that we need to be able to take these benchmarks that we make and alter them to make them better year after year. So how do I implement domain number 5? I created a teacher retention survey this year because we have a lot of good teachers that have left over the past 3 or 4 years at Environmental Charter School Gardena, and I was really concerned because these people were not leaving to another school district, rather they were just leaving to another school within our own district. And I kind of wanted to figure out why that's happening, and I'm hoping that I can get some information that's useful that I can share with colleagues in administration. We have to create a NGSS scope and sequence with colleagues. So we did a little bit of this last year, but I feel like if we get some of the other science teachers more involved, it would really help and have them take ownership of the curriculum that they have to teach. We have to use taught summative and formative assessment to guide student learning. This is big in science, addressing those misconceptions, finding out what the misconceptions are, finding out what foundational science content the students may or may not have is really essential before you start teaching your unit. I actually did a PD on this for the science teachers, and they seem to have gotten something out of it. What do I have to do? Well, I have to advocate for increased science time and professional development. Generally, we have about an hour or two, maybe every 3 months, for science professional development within our school. I have asked for more time, but there's not a lot of time to be given because of our interdisciplinary teaching that we do at our school. So I have to be an advocate for increased time. We have to hold science teachers accountable. Now, the science teachers have come a long way from when I first came to the school, but even still, because we're going to go through this CAST test, it's really essential that these science teachers are teaching what they're supposed to, because this test is not for just 8th graders, but it spans 6th through 8th, and it's only tested in 8th grade. So it's really essential that they're teaching the science standards that they need to. And I need to be able to front load teachers on the new CAST test. So that means that I looked at the test, I analyzed the test, we look at the curriculum map that's provided by the state and try to figure out what's the best way to attack this test. So how do I plan and empower teachers to use data for science unit planning? Well, we need to analyze these CAS maps. And if we analyze these CAS maps, we should have a really good idea of what will be on this CAS test. We did a little bit of that with scope and sequence, but I feel like that needs to be developed more over time. We also need to create a more meaningful scope and sequence that the teachers are required to teach and they're comfortable teaching. Last year we created a scope and sequence, but it seems like the teachers didn't have enough time to get to all the standards. So we need to either change it, simplify it, or try to figure out some way where these teachers are hitting all these standards. We also need to have a plan for the CAS test. The CAS test is going to be graded next year and be scored, and we need to make sure that we are able to show how well we can achieve on this test. Before, when we did the science test for California, we achieved very high, and I would like to continue that tradition, but I'm not sure if the teachers in the lower grade levels are teaching all the curriculum that they need to. So here are some sources that I use to improve domain number 5. The most useful source that I have ever used is the National Board Standards. When I was going through national boards about 4 years ago, I found that their talk about using assessment to guide curriculum planning is really essential. And if you click on that link, it brings you to this huge document, but really pages 40 through 49 are the best spots. I also use the framework of the K through 12 science education. They have a chapter that's dedicated to assessment and using assessment within your unit planning. I think it's really helpful. The page numbers are on the slides. And in the past, we had a Clark County School District Guide to help implementing school improvement through assessment data. It's just kind of this blank document where you can kind of get the data, lay it all out, and try to plan how you're going to attack it. All right, well, thank you for joining me in my inaugural screencast. I hope you learned something about domain number 5, and thank you so much.